Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie. A well-organized lie. Defeats a disorganized truth every time. Who we?
A pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer, I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. Pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer, I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling. Who do you believe in? People bringing misinformation when that information ain't disinformation, that's disinformation. Gotta know the difference in information, get information. With the pseudo killer army hunting pseudo, cause you gotta train your mind to fight against them pseudo judo. People with the scholarship salute, we give them kudos. But the people with that look of shit, we look and see straight through those like telescope. If you ain't speaking fast, we gotta tell them folks and let them know the truth of. You bringing malinformation to blast, then you the Ku Klux. Like say, don't talk me to death, bro, what the proof of? Good choo-choo chillin', why you wanna go way bad choo-choo up? Shalom boy got the tank in the cut, I'm in Sosa world plotting on the kick though with Kent. Come in Tiffany gave me the pseudo names on the list and said went and got the low. Anthony got him in the scope, Gullah and Gozy make sure DNA ain't a problem for them folks, cause a pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer, I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. Pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer, I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey.
We're not attacking individuals. We're attacking the information and attacking the methodology. This is long time coming right here. Let them know that we right there, running neck and neck with all other communities. We will not be left behind.
What's good, family? Where the hell is Cedric at, man? That nigga put me up on the screen, man. What's good, Cedric? What it do, man? What it do?
What it do, what it do, what it do. The after party. I said I'm just giving the boss the flow to do your thing. Introduce us, bring us into the building.
Oh, man. Well, let's do it right, man. Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woohoo-wee, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's the Pseudo Killers on deck, man. And we come to do what we got to do. Standing tall, standing strong. Hey, you know what it is, man? Pseudo Killers, man. What's up, Cedric? What it do, bro? What it do, what it do, what it do?
What it do, what it do, what it do. I mean, Vindication feels.
Shoot, man. I feel you.
I'm the type of brother that says, I told you so.
You know what, though? Right here, I got The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity by David Wingrove. All right, and Grabir. Then I got a little Diops right here. Little Diops. Little Dawn of Everything, you know what I'm saying? Reading into it. Right here, I got the 2-volume set Biology. Right? I read a little bit of that this week. 1 and 2, right? The 1, I mean, that's volume 2.
Virology.
All right. Pathogenesis and control. And volume 1, molecular biology. Biology. Right?
Yeah, virology. Yeah, that's pathology, pathogens, and virology. Forms of pathology.
On science. All right. Sean Otto. Type that into your YouTube channel, right? Dope. Little Richard Dawkins right here. Books do furnish a life, reading and right science. He got a good piece in here with Neil deGrasse. They have a good conversation back and forth on how they transmit their ideas. And then I got this. Christopher Eric, I might don't got this. Came highly recommended Southern Nilotic History by Christopher Ariano. Got this. Shemata Keita.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, man, that's just little things I'm reading. I usually, read a chapter. Yeah, I mean, or two, and just keep everything refreshed and keep it organized, man. But yeah, man, you enjoy yourself today. You had a good time today, bro.
Yeah, I had a good time. Vindication is such a good feeling. Like I said, I just put out what I've been saying, what I've been teaching, what I've been preaching. I put it right in front of the professor without any fluff, right? I stated my case. I presented it as if it was a thesis. It's not a thesis, it's me synthesizing the information that is known. And you saw his reaction. So, vindication, affirmation, when you get that scholarly dissection of your work, and everything that we have been saying is in its proper context. I like the fact that he went into the epistemic regimes, putting allowing these cultures to exist holistically, separate from this anachronistic nature in terms of watching them as failed attempt at modern science. I think that was the most crucial point he made. I was that flabbergasted. Good, Juju.
Oh, shame, man. Yeah, I think. I mean, that's why it's important to have experts on, bro. And we never scared to tell them what the hell we be saying.
Yeah,
Cause I don't just make up shit and say it.
no,
Yeah, I had to read it in a book. I read it in the book, digest it, look around, see what the experts are saying and get a real good feel for it. I mean, I didn't actually need a professor to tell me the damn context of a word.
you know,
Like, come on, bro. Like
we
with
can use we
research.
have the skill to use that word science in
Mm-hmm.
its five definitions in one sentence, and
Flawless.
most people will get lost.
Yeah, you come on. Ancient science. If I say ancient science, yo, if I say Egyptian science, if I say Chinese science. Come on. I don't mean that, is it the professor did a great job though, man. Y'all gotta go check out the interview. Yeah, dope guy, man. I gotta give it to him, bro. Dope guy, yo. Scott,
Yeah,
yo,
you
gotta give
see, you see, the whole point is when you do the type of work that he does. It's like the pedagogic exercise that took everyone on when we were discussing the philosophers of science. You do not do the standard textbook regurgitation of what the standard stuff. You actually
Mhm.
dive into these people. You know the culture they were living in. You understand their frame of reference. You understand what was going on in their environment, right? And when you are able to do that, you're able to look at these people within the context and in the time frame that they exist, right? Again, everybody think that science was as if the people came together and it was a conspiracy to create this thing science. Most people were fighting the epistemic rupture. They were trying to reaffirm reaffirm the authority of the state and the authority of the religious institution. Kant was a purist, right? He was part of the elite, and this is the environment that these people are in. So when you're able to dissect their these time frames, like the good doctor does, then you don't make these anachronistic assumptions or over whooping what the people did when you take it out of the context of which they were doing it.
You can
That's
tell
the
a
point I
history,
make.
man. He understands the cultures that we're talking about.
Yeah,
He doesn't feel the need for speed. Right?
definitely.
He don't he gonna explain it based off the history.
Yeah,
And he kept saying it over and over again. He said, you can't even understand the people, right? If you're not understanding what they was trying to achieve and how
exactly.
they were trying to achieve it. He said you do them a grave injustice.
Yeah.
And he said it's like scientism. When you think that's the only way people can know things. I could have sworn we said that. He said it makes
He said that. He said that. And he talked about the fact that like deductive reasoning is what helped us get to where we are. Don't dismiss that attribute of human beings, right? The fact that we still think or use the word the sun sets and sun rises up until today, right, is because that deductive reasoning allowed us to survive. All right. So don't relegate what they were doing. Don't say they had messy observations. Y'all know I'm gonna stay right there.
Yeah, I think that was important. You want to jump in, Jew? Yeah, I think that was important though, man. The way he just kind of laid that smoke down. It was like seriously, like I think that was very, very important. The way he just set the pace for the whole conversation and how he talked about, what the ancient people was doing. He talked about the mindset, the worldview and how they seen the world. One time I say, well, if they would have had signs, they would have went to the moon. He say, but they wasn't even thinking about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he said it's a mistake to place our worldview, the way we think, the way we see it, and place it on them. Like that is so clear, bro. I gotta give it to him. He said that shit like you supposed to say that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. And he never took away from no ancient culture. He never did none of that. And like to your point, he said those things that they had help us get you where we was at. He made a point to make that all that the believing in the gods, the whole nine, all that was part of, right? All that because he wouldn't separate. Remember, he said all that is what got us to here. He talked about astrology and Galileo and all them, how they were doing all that and all that way of thinking and all that. That he said it was a mind shift. He said all that, bro. Gotta give it to him.
I feel vindicated. Every aspect of what I was bringing forward, especially in this week, right, when I was articulating the frame of mind that these philosophers had, right, how and what was going on, the dynamics of their environment. You need to take all these things into consideration when you're looking at the worldview that forms how you engage with reality, right? An animistic culture has a completely other worldview in how they describe, right, their relationship with their environment. That's just what it is, right? And it doesn't make it any less. Definitely doesn't. Why? We are here today. The fact that we are here today means that they were successful in what they were doing. I keep saying that. Without Noptoplier, you don't get to the moon. Because if we were still trying to figure out time, if we were still trying to figure out time, we would not have had the space and the energy to focus on these other things. That empirical work that the ancients did, that was instrumental in getting us here where we are. I mean, you can't get around it.
Yeah, it's steps. But I wanted you to go back when he was talking about like the paradigm shift, right? Those cultures, wouldn't even be ready or be thinking about going to the moon. I think that goes for everything we discuss when we are anachronistically applying certain things to past people or ancient cultures. That could be applied even with West Africans coming to the New World, pre-Columbian. There wasn't a time for that. There wasn't technology for that or any of that. And I think that's the first rule of thumb. And most people in academics, in disciplines like his and other disciplines, are going to start there. What was the paradigm of the people? What was their worldview? Where was their mindset, right? And then you can get into when did that paradigm start to shift? Usually it shifts with, new sciences and new technology that comes to play, right? And that takes time, and that takes the type of just human evolution, but colloquially, not scientifically, right? I think more or less like the evolution of the mind and evolution of thought and process and things like that. So I think that's something that we should heavily discuss more, and I think it'll be clear for other laymen like us to really get it. when you talk about those worldviews and those paradigm shifts. Those are extremely important concepts in understanding this historical movement or history at its point in time, like at Newton's point in time, at Galileo's point in time. You get what I'm saying? Like it's pivotal to understand that worldview and those concepts during that time, so you can understand, you know, the reality of the situation instead of trying to superimpose our reality onto those people. And all I gotta say is, I've been said that Newton was not a scientist, because it's very clear. You feel me? He did scientific things. He has scientific thought. Does not make him a scientist, you know. So I just wanted to say that.
Agreed. It is absolutely paramount that we frame these people in their proper psychological and philosophical context. Once you do that, you'll understand that you're going to see observations throughout history. What changes is the the uh, 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 the worldview, right? The depth or the angle of which you're analyzing these things. I kept talking about the paradigm shift when you move from horse and buggy, a biological animal, which would you have a completely different relationship to the combustion engine. That's a paradigm shift. The terminology, the technology, what you need to do, and then what you're able to do based on this new paradigm. The distance you're able to cover, the amount of time you're able to cover. We talked about these things so in depth and so specific. It is refreshing to hear it come back. Like,
Yeah,
said that, said that. Yeah,
yeah.
that was awesome. That was
I,
awesome.
he definitely was an excellent communicator, and I think that's important. And I think it's something that we all can learn from, right? I think the point of becoming an excellent communicator, of course, is an expert, but understanding the terminology and placing things in its proper perspective is the most important thing, right? And he did that exceptionally well, but he's had practice at it too. So
Yeah. Join the
yeah.
Discord, everybody. Join the Discord. If you want to learn to do this, join the Discord.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, I think that's I will be watching it again after this show, because I was distracted with a whole bunch of kids, middle school kids. It's fun though. So you know, I had to pay attention to them. You know,
Shout
but
out
I
to Juju for all the good work that Juju does. Y'all, if y'all talk about being active in the community, and a community activist, I can tell you personally, I know Juju's heart, right? Within her wider community and her immediate community. This is a philanthropist of the highest degree because she doesn't brag about it, right? That's a true philanthropist, and that's why we're here to do that for her. Shout out to Juju. Juju works so hard, always been. There's always a project. There's always some kids. She's taking a group of bad kids, exposing them to different environments, going in and taking them out. Yeah, we don't talk about this aspect because that's real philanthropy. You don't need a camera and showing everybody what you're doing. But shout out to Juju for all the hard work that you do.
they're not bad kids. They just come from,
You know what I'm
parents
saying.
who don't have the necessary skills and not so favorable environments. But when we say bad kids, we just be kidding. You feel me? I don't mean it. They're even the most rambunctious, baddest one, he named Zion. He's a little light skinned, the littlest one. But he's so hey, Miss Juju, always want to give me a hug. So, you know, they're not bad. They just need the right people around them. But yeah, excellent conversation. I think even the haters in the chat, if you haven't seen it, please go look at it. And I really need y'all to have a little bit of maturity, right, about yourselves, because it doesn't do you any favors to always have to, you know, hawk down someone because they're not Black. There's a lot of Black people in this community that is effing it up for y'all. And y'all can't move forward because y'all don't have the right knowledge base to do so. So, you know, I mean, why would y'all bash or say just very uncivilized
I'm tired of the Hess guy.
about a scholar because he's not Black or he's white?
Yeah.
I would think that the majority of scholars in the Western world would be white. I mean, you know, I said the Western world. So apply that correctly, okay? Would be white. And that's not anything like we're dumber, but there's history, there's access towards that. But nevertheless, the work is sound. So I think you need to respect people for sound work. And I just find that disgusting. I'm embarrassed for you all when you think you're doing something by sitting up in the chat disrespecting this man that's probably been in school 10, 12 years plus to get his PhD, and then he teaches on top of that.
He went to school late. He went to school late when he was like 25 or something like that.
I think that's right on time, actually, because you really don't know what you do. You at 25, you really can settle and do what you need to do. But you can come in the chat and you can be hateful on any regular day. But when we have experts, just please have some decorum. And it's not about acting good for the white man. When we have Black experts on here, we're extra professional. That's just how you do it. That is the real world. We don't have to be rowdy every day, So
rowdy, man. First of all, they gotta go listen to the damn show and learn something. The shit wasn't hard to follow.
No.
At the end of the day, he made me feel good about just our culture, period. You know what I'm saying? He made me feel good about ancient cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah. That a man will come to our panel and give us some expertise so that we can help us understand how the ancient world was, how our ancestors transmitted ideas, and he respected them for what they had. He didn't make up some shit, right? Excuse my language. He didn't make it up and say, yeah, they was there. He didn't do all that. He felt it appalling that people would even do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, y'all don't care about no African history. Y'all don't care about y'all care about African Americans projecting into the past history. That's all they care about. They care about what they want. They don't care about what the people was actually doing and saying. They actually think that there's no way they could accomplish anything without science. That's what they think. He talked about how science was made prestigious, right? He said he wasn't even at it first. Remember, he went through all that. Like, yeah, man, y'all sleeping, bro. Like, the argument is the most craziest argument. You're not gonna find it nowhere. No matter how hard you try to look and find it saying something else, your ChatGPT won't even lie for you.
They tried their best. And when the ChatGPT said, it is best to qualify these people as natural philosophers, instead of accepting the correction, you try to push your ChatGPT. That's intellectual dishonesty, confirmation bias on steroids, and cognitive dissonance happening right in front of our eyes.
Facts.
Right? And the question is why though? What is the impetus?
Ignorance. We're surrounded by ignorance, man. Drop that link.
Yeah, so I think that takes practice, and it's a good exercise to remove your bias. I think that's a good thing about ChatGPT. It's a great exercise in removing your bias, right? I do that by asking both questions. You feel me? Is it or is it not? Like, not what do you think? You feel me? Is such and such da-da-da, or is it da-da-da-da-da? And, try to keep it as unbiased as possible. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you falsify your own position. Yeah.
Right. There's a good way to be very unbiased, and there's a good way for ChatGPT to give you correct information. That's just like, do you think that we could call something, no, just ask, is it that? And show me sources. I always ask my ChatGPT, show me academic sources, show me journal articles on any question that I'm asking that has to deal with science or, any of these high level discussions. That's a safe thing. So, because when you get on the panel and you try to argue with me, you talking about ChatGPT, bro, I'm gonna clown you, because it's not a source, it's a tool. Y'all gotta learn that. The sources you gotta find after it gives you answers. Now go find it in the source and corroborate what ChatGPT tells you with an actual source on the subject. And if ChatGPT ain't saying what the source is, it's hallucinating, or you done biased it out too much. It's going to tell you what you want to hear. And you can make your ChatGPT do that. I've seen people do it all the time. I'm like, how's your ChatGPT saying that? Mine's is saying something completely opposite, because you built it. It's a machine. What you put into it is what you're going to get out. So,
Hey, Juju, I see you up there with that expensive ass Adidas on. Don't nobody even got that type of Adidas shit.
Yeah.
She be
That's
wearing
European football.
Bro, I
That's
had no
soccer
idea
I
that
collect
Adidas
jerseys.
had.
That's soccer gear.
You know, Adidas got a whole nother line.
And it's red, black, and green.
Don't nobody even know about. Like a whole nother, you know what I mean? You ain't just going to the store getting that.
It's Adidas confirm, and you got to have like so many points in Adidas to even get that out. Because, you know,
that's
a lot of superstars, like, they get the first,
All right. You said that's a European line or something. Super.
Oh, yeah, German.
Crazy. I had no idea. That's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, that conversation, you dropped the link, man. Y'all get up here, join the panel, man. If you got, not sure if y'all seen the interview or not. I think between King J, Cedric, and King J, Cedric, No Christian, and Preem.
Joel.
Yeah, I said No Christian. Yeah, No Christian. Yeah,
Joel needs to be up here. Where's Joel?
He sleep, yo. He gotta go to work.
Oh man.
But I'm trying to tell you that the interactions they had with the guy, and what I like was nobody was afraid to ask that question about the things that they were saying.
Yeah.
Right? We all express this is how I'm expressing it. Where am I off? You know, am I saying this? What you think? You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't get up there and change what we were saying. You know how I'm gonna change what they saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I used to saw you do that. He would not say none of that what he was saying to us.
That's not transparent. You gotta
be
he
would do it. He would not do it. Even like if you thought the justice was black, you're supposed to stand on that and say it.
Yep.
Right?
Say it.
Yeah, no tiptoeing around. So we didn't tiptoe around the issue. And the way he transmitted the ideas was so clear. He gave the example of the glasses. You know what I'm saying? You think you're saying science, you're saying it like this, you think.
When he took them on and off? See, I missed something.
What? Then he was like, when you put them on, you was like, oh, that wasn't.
It's much clearer. Right.
Clear. That wasn't.
You can see everything.
Yeah, he said you can see everything, but like this, you're like, yeah, that's ancient science, right?
Yeah, but you ain't really seeing it for what it is.
You put them back, you're like, oh, that was.
That's good. I mean, and that's part of the transparency. You feel me?
Then he was basically saying that it's arrogant for us to make them see the world the way we see the world. And that was the piece right there. See, and that was the piece right there. I was like, damn, I should have thought of that shit 3 weeks ago. I should have thought of that 3 weeks ago.
But I've been saying that.
You said it in your own way.
Yeah, but not that way. That was slick.
Yeah, you wanted
not that way.
I got in a couple good ones though. Yeah, I hit him with some clarity. Hit him some clarity. Like, yeah, I like the way he said, yeah. Cedric Line talking about he went 95, 100%. He went 85 and a half, Cedric.
Nah, 60. Now I check it 60, maybe 70, maybe 60.
What are you talking about?
Did you look at it? Did you look at it again?
Yeah, I looked at it.
I told you. I said you got to watch again and make sure he ain't beat.
You go look at it again.
He did a little bit in the last hour or so.
I was right, wasn't I?
Yeah.
No,
like I think so said to tell him, don't start teaching.
Yeah.
And I think that's just respect for the expert. You feel me?
We're not. You can't help yourself. I said
we ain't teaching. I was
mad.
My whole hypothesis out there
because
I want him to examine everything I'm saying. Like, yeah,
I like how you put that. You feel me?
Yeah, you had heart. You definitely had heart, but he wanted to let nobody trap him.
Real quick, if any of the moderators are in the chat, if you want to drop the YouTube video from the show today with Dr. Scott Hendrix. We'll really appreciate that. So people can go ahead and save that link and watch it after the after show. We're just giving our own little commentary. It's like the after party after show. It was an excellent show for sure.
I'm pulling it up now.
It was very engaging, you know.
Yeah, man.
You know, and if you can't sit through shows like that, I would just forget about stick to community college. Don't go to no big university because you're gonna have lecture classes. And if you can't sit through him giving a response for 5 minutes, you're not gonna make it through school. You know what I mean? This is no way.
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you. I'm not even being funny. I'm just being realistic for you. So there's no way. You're going to be falling asleep. They're going to be kicking you out of class, failing you on the spot. Because they do stuff like that. It'd be rules like, if you fall asleep in my class, you fell. And you got to start at it's college. It's not high school. So I'm just telling y'all, I got to get some discipline. I've never seen so many undisciplined people, but on YouTube. That's why this place is not even real. It's a good place to do certain things, but y'all are a mess. I'm just disappointed, embarrassed for you. I'm gonna keep saying it.
Yeah, O's there, 3-pointer here. Hey, the haters turn right in. I ain't even mad at you, bro.
Yeah, hit the like button for all the haters. Go ahead, hit the like button.
Hit the like button, bro.
Look, we appreciate the haters too. Y'all be the majority in the chat. That's the funny thing. Thanks for the numbers, haters. We don't hate y'all. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. I don't know about his narrow point of view, but I tell you what, though, Aoife. Oh, that's Aoife. Aoife, wow. That's Aoife, ain't it? Aoife, hit the damn link. Don't sit in there and hide and talk crazy talk.
Come on the panel, Aoife.
Yeah, come on the panel, yo. Yeah. Crazy. I ain't saying nothing about no smoking gun.
Listen,
see, they getting it. Go ahead.
Since he better than the experts, is all I'm going to say. Go ahead.
No, this was I think they got it mixed up at. The man actually didn't have a narrow view of science.
No.
He actually didn't. He actually brought a fresh air to the damn conversation, a breath of fresh air to the conversation. He actually didn't knock anybody. He actually talked about mindset with clarity. He talked about worldview. Yeah. If you're sitting here thinking you got the worldview of the Egyptians, you are not. I'm going to say it again. If you think that you got the worldview of an Egyptian, you're a damn nut.
Facts.
You can't even fathom how the Egyptians thinking. As a matter of fact, we've been taught the history so mixed up and wild African American style that we can't even fathom how they was thinking. What they standard of beauty was, all that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know I sent the link to you. You missed it. I sent the link to you because I know you wanted to get some questions in there.
You're not in the back, Aoife. Stop lying.
And you lying if you ain't no back.
I keep calling you out. I got controls too. I just thought it was said.
Hey, Seth, you take the other thing off.
Sorry?
Oh, you got this. You keep me, let me up in the back.
No, Aoife's lying. He's not in the back.
No, he's scared to hit the chat.
Yeah, he's scared.
He's scamming. He's not in the back. Come on.
Oh, hey, Grant, you know I sent you that link too because I felt like you would enjoy that conversation today.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance. I watched about 30 minutes of it. That it was in the middle of something, but it's a stark contrast, correct? From he was measured. When you asked questions, he listened immediately. He attempted to answer the question and attempted to provide context beyond it. And you saw I think the cadence is important too. I think everyone should, for some of the people who tend to show up in this arena, I think the note you should take is that he listened, which is very important. And he attempts to sort of pinpoint what you're trying to ask. And he's ultimately asking questions to make sure he's understanding what's being asked of him and to ensure that he's responding to the question. And the ability to sort of have this sort of measured approach in this arena is important. I mean, Scott's a serious human being. And part of if you wanting to be taken serious, you have to show up in these types of spaces, having a serious attempt. Yeah. In essence, they don't expect everyone to know. Matter of fact, I think with even in a narrow window that I listened, it was like 30 minutes or so, he said, that really isn't something I studied. And I think there was a question that Ankh had said, hey, do you think Egyptians practice science? And he's like, I don't specialize in ancient Egyptian culture, but I can give you sort of a broad sense. And so he goes on to explain it from there. And so he's keen on what he knows. He attempts to frame what he doesn't know within his understanding of the world, and he tries to provide that context. And so he wasn't making sort of broad statements. I think he was very sort of pinpointed, sort of precise around what he was trying to explain. So I think it definitely it's a contrast. And I think if you don't see the contrast, you certainly are the problem, because there are no groups of people, correct, walking around this world who are being taken serious, who yell, I can beat this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about, who has a PhD in science. There's a delusion of grandeur, a scale in which no one has seen except in your own mind. And if only your arrogance could be matched by your intelligence, just maybe, but unfortunately you have quite a Grand Canyon field of arrogance, and you have maybe a puddle worth of intelligence, and I think that's the problem.
The arrogance is to hide the lack of intelligence.
Why you bust him in the head like that, Grant?
Yeah, Grant be cussing him out.
You do it so like eloquently.
Yeah. The arrogance is an attempt to mask the lack of intelligence. You see those who do the emotional manipulation because they study some strategic something. It's because they lack the intellectual capacity to carry the conversation, so they devolve into their arena of emotional manipulation. That's what we're seeing. Their intellect or lack of intellect is being masked with arrogance.
Yes, most certainly.
And he talked about the colonization, how they misuse science. And he talked about all that, man. Like, I can't believe, man, listen, that was a great, all the questions was great, man. All the bros that came up, showed out, man. I appreciate the conversation. I like having conversations like that, man, with somebody that you don't got to fight, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, the way we read those articles, the comprehension was always right there, man. And it's funny, like not understanding words and not understanding sentences and how sentences build paragraphs. You know what I'm saying? When you first learn to read, you know the damn words you're saying. Right? Sunchild fought that the other day. I say, bro, I just want to define a word so we can understand what it means in this sentence, right? And then there's another sentence that follows that. And now you have a paragraph. What is the overall paragraph saying? And there's certain words in that sentence that let you know, right? Generally speaking, words like that, like, you don't know what that means? So that's part of it though, Grant, that comprehension, that ability to understand the ideas that are conveyed. I asked him a question one time. I say, why do y'all, when y'all write, why do y'all throw that word science around loosely like that? And he explained, he said, yeah, that's kind of wrong when that happens, right? It needs to be a better way. He said, basically what I'm saying is, why not just characterize what they was thinking in their worldview and how they got to their knowledge, right? Like, why not do? And that's what I was saying. Like, why can't? What's wrong with understanding what they was thinking about? Ain't that what history's supposed to do? Is you supposed to let the? I know. Put it this way: early anthropology. I heard Dr. Aiden said. He said early anthropology, they weren't even going to a lot of these places at times, right?
Did say that.
He said that, right? And so where anthropology was back then, they would try to throw like a feather to the Bible and say, yeah, this culture had flood stories too, right? They recognize that that's wrong. You still giving power to the Bible. You get that, like, you got to have a flood story. You don't got a real God. Y'all see that, right? And so what he's saying is, and what anthropology is today, they're basically saying that, no, let's understand what they meant about their ideas. Let them tell you, let them teach you. That's where they at right now. So with the science thing, he talked about the arrogance, right, of Europeans. He talked about how you can't look back at time and place your ideology on them. You think at this point that, science, because I asked myself, well, why do people think science is so superior? He said, because we working around with a modern lens. right? It's a modern lens we have, and we look at the world back there with a modern lens. You can't fathom. You don't know what it's like to walk around with no shoes on your whole life, and it not mean nothing at all, right? You don't know what it's like to feel your feet, right? When since you was and you 15 and you've been walking bare feet for 15 years, you don't know what that feel like. If your feet get that rough, yo, we cracking jokes. Boy, he got crack on his feet. We cracking jokes. Look how hard his feet is. Look at that woman. She got a hustle. We cracking jokes. You get that? Like, that's not even our understanding. I know that's a real rough way of trying to get the point across, but at the end of the day, man, like, come on, man, y'all got to give them people a chance, man. And I think we underestimate what them people was doing. Like you said, it's scientism.
We got a question there from our good brother Philip Baines. Is it because there are some similarities between natural philosophy and science that many retrofit science into natural philosophy? They retrofit it way further back. Why? They are looking.
I think you should tell them the definition of natural philosophy first.
Okay. Natural philosophy is
find them a definition.
Yeah, it's a specific.
I think a lot of times it's people don't get it because they don't know the definition. I think natural philosophy is essentially the framework, right?
Yeah, natural philosophy is a framework, is the way that you investigate and determine what your knowledge is. And that was a top-down, deductive type of process, which we don't have really any scientific methodology. Any testing that you were doing was just to confirm your belief. You see, I think logs float. You throw a log in the water, see, log float, right? I proved my point. That was what was significant about natural philosophy is that it took away, or it changed, for example, the way the Egyptian and the Mesopotamian era function. They use mythological philosophy. The gods did it, right? Everything was attributed to gods. The Greeks later on, from Thales forward, right? They took the lightning bolt, quote unquote, from Zeus and placed it into nature. Nature became divine, right? And there's again still that top-down system, teleological, purpose-driven, nothing conceptually the same. However, what you are going to see within all of these epistemic regimes is a basic component of human activity, observations. We actually need to engage with the world. The framework with which you do those observations changes. That means those observations fundamentally change. There's a difference between laying on your back, looking up in the sky, observation, or having James Webb telescope doing your observation. These are completely different paradigms, but the same words and the same rudimentary processes are in play. And this is where the conflation happens. They see the word observation or experiment, and they equate it based on the narrative that we have today, our modern lens of the world. That's the problem primarily.
Read them the definition.
I can't see that. Oh, you go ahead, you.
So it says natural philosophy or philosophy of nature, Latin, of course, or experimental philosophy. Until the late modern period was a systematic and a research-based study of nature and the physical universe. Those are important words. While ignoring any supernatural influence, important words, used since at least Aristotle, which is classical antiquity, until the 19th century. The term natural philosophy referred to a branch of philosophy, a broader term then meaning all rational fields of study and contemplation that explore topics. What are you laughing at?
Laughing at
I know. I see her.
They're in the chat crying, Aoife crying. Aoife say they argued this point for 3 months and finally raised enough money in order to get a person with a degree. No, we actually got away from drunks like you. Aoife, remember last time you was on the show, you was drunk. Yeah, that's when we stopped conversating with people that was drinking while in the middle of trying to have an intelligent conversation. That's what actually happened. Got taught to playing with y'all. Illiterates, very illiterate. Very, very illiterate. Can't understand context about anything. It would do you well to look at the daggone thing. Go ahead, Juju. You was gonna say something. I don't want to take you off your course where you was at.
No, he did. I was gonna ask Philip, does he understand it now?
No, I don't understand nothing. I'm gonna go to the paper.
Philip is pretty cool.
Oh, okay. All right, when you finish with that, I'm gonna go to the actual article.
I'm not gonna read y'all to death, but you could just simply look up natural philosophy on Wiki. And I think a lot of times you just read the definition, you get it, because science is about their observation of nature, right? Science is not trying to prove God and different things like that. So that's why it fits. You feel me?
What Roy say? Deductive reasoning.
Huh?
What Roy say? Deductive reasoning is not used within science because science cannot derive absolutes, since by definition has to be falsified and updatable. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's absolutely correct.
Peace, Roy Chess.
It is not top-down reasoning, but it's top-down positioning. Your observation of nature, you deduce and you instruct. By your observation, you determine what nature is. It is not inductive by investigating nature. You are deducing what is happening based on logical parameters. That's a fundamental difference. Now, when you investigate nature, you start with deductive reasoning, understand that's an overgeneralization, and this is where the constraints come in. But you never start with a presupposition. Even if you have a hypothesis, you put that hypothesis through the scientific method and falsify your hypothesis. So it is never really top down by means of deductive reasoning. Your deductive reasoning is not an aspect. It is an aspect of human nature that always is in the game. It starts there. I see something and I have a cause reaction assumption. That's where it starts. And the difference is the humility with which we operate. The natural philosophers, that was it. They philosophized it, and that was sufficient, right? It was pretty much by fiat. Now, with that epistemic humility, from the moment you think you're right, you start to look around you and start to investigate every possible way to prove yourself wrong, because we understand the fallibility of deductive reasoning. So inductive and deductive, they work hand in hand. But when you apply the scientific method, it puts all those parameters in check. That is the whole reason for methodological naturalism, that philosophical framework.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Juju, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Read that. By this point, it should be clear.
Yeah, super clear. By this point, it should be clear that the application of the word science to the pre-modern world should be done only after the most careful consideration of not only what the researcher is analyzing, but also the place that this term holds within our modern epistemistic regimen, in which science is part of a larger discursive formation. This formation, one that brings the concepts not only of rational and scientific together, but also modern, mathematical, and empirically tested. Given the place of science in the modern world and the social capital it commands within the Western habitus, researchers should invoke the term to describe knowledge constructs prior to the 17th century only with the greatest care and hesitancy. This point has not gone wholly unacknowledged, as Alistair Crombie implied something quite similar when he argued that we must be concerned above all with people and their vision and acknowledge that words can have highly divergent meanings when employed within differing historical contexts. And experiment itself may not have different meanings and intentions. What is that?
Hold on, let me get back in there. Because you can stop. Hold on. I can't even make a move. Here you go. But then, can you see it?
Different meanings and intentions in differing contexts.
Mm-hmm. So that's a strong couple of sentences right there. And if you can't understand that, then you probably not fit for the conversation. You got to go back to the drawing board and figure out why you think that's some shade on ancient cultures when it's actually not. It's not. We have social capital. It commands social capitals, right? In the Western habitus. It's saying that we think it to be very, very important on this side of the water. We just do. If you're in Africa, right, there may be a split there. They think traditional African, or I'll say the word African science, since that's what y'all need to have, right? They think that to be something serious, right? Right? But you would have to investigate what African science actually is. African science is not the science we're talking about here, right? So there's different value systems. So if you go back in time, they had different values. The way they evaluated the world they lived in was different from the way we evaluated it based off your worldview. So if I have a worldview that the oldest is the best, right? That's kind of like what this community is. Y'all think that the oldest, right? Y'all revere the oldest people, right? The eldership. They great and renowned. They knowledge is unwavering. That's how y'all thinking, right? Y'all thinking like the damn Egyptians was thinking. Y'all actually, that's like a harken back to your past. Where in African nations, they felt like the tradition can't be broken. So y'all basically saying the tradition can't be broken, because I'm sitting there saying, man, those works are outdated when you got it. It was in 1950, 1970, then that's 50 something years, man. Damn near 60 years ago. You know how much the human genome been mapped out at this point. So you're standing on work that's ancient when you got it. You can't get out of it, right? Now, that word science holds a whole different meaning. It's modern, man. All right? It's modern. So you keep projecting it back to 1500 BCE, 350,000 BCE, all the way back to the chimpanzee split some damn where. It's the wildest thing to me. It just is. Yep. But they won't hit that link, though. Not today they won't, because they seen it. You doing, Cedric? Oh, that's you.
They never gonna hit that link.
Go ahead, Grant.
I think one of the other. Oh, go ahead, Cedric.
You good, Grant? Go ahead, Grant.
I think one of the other things is breaking up Europe in a way of not thinking of it as through some homogenized notion of whiteness. The reason you don't see very many Russians in early European history is because they were far behind the rest of Europe. And there's other parts of Europe that were also in that similar place for a variety of reasons. It was a highly uneducated society. It was ruled by brutal dictators, correct? In essence, what it shows you is that as long as you sit in under a cloud of ignorance and having a highly uneducated society, it will largely leave you behind. And so what you're attempting to do is say that whiteness has done something when it didn't. There are a very narrow group, very narrow band of individuals within a very narrow window within Europe from really only the sort of the powerhouses at the time that are really making these advancements. The rest of Europe is it's very much so dark in the sense of it is very uneducated. And so they're sort of crawling out of their own depths of stupidity and ignorance. And so when you ultimately give all the power that whiteness in of itself had all of this power and all of this genius, you're missing something that it didn't. And ultimately, the only way to get out of your own ignorance is to make sure you understand it isn't about whether or not you're saying these other people are smart. It's whether or not you're going to strive in order to gain traction in order to get there. The Russians come along and they see this. They're like, we are so far behind our European brethren. We have to then institute a revolution, their own renaissance. And you just see this explosion of information and this explosion of intelligence. I'm actually begging for us to have this similar explosion, understanding that, yes, African Americans have been left, with very limited tools for a very long time, and we've seen huge gains, correct, over this period. But we have quite a few number of people we still need to bring and drag along into this place of thinking about themselves through the lens of being intelligent, not through the lens of just hoping that whitey goes away, because that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you talking about Peter the Great, yo, the Tsar of Russia, yo.
Yeah,
When he went to power, right? Russia was the daggone Kremlin was wood. When he grew up, right? He liked playing with battleships and stuff. He would build and float them, right? Do all that. As soon as he became the Tsar of Russia, he said, "I'm getting out of here." They was like, "What? How can a great leader leave Russia?" Left his uncle or somebody in charge. He went to the rest of Europe somewhere, right? He studied shipbuilding, right? He got into science and all that, shipbuilding, all kind of stuff, right? And he came back, and the first thing he did was he built the daggone navy. And I think he attacked the Danes, I believe. Either the Danes or was it the Danes, right? He attacked the Danes. They fought to a standstill. He go back 2 years later, and he defeats the Danes. So at that point, that put them on the world stage as a power now. But watch this, though. He also put a scientific observatory in Russia. He changed Russia from wood to stone now. He upgraded everything. He told the priesthood, "You're going to pay a tax. Cut your daggone beards off, right? Or you're going to pay a tax." He put religion in its proper place. Right here, we ain't doing, okay, I know, I hear you, but y'all ain't got that problem no more, right? This is what we're going to do. We're going to stand behind knowledge and wisdom. He built St. Peter's, right? St. Peter's was the exact replica of Paris, right? He did all that, man. And he did it. He can't stand them damn Europeans. You sitting there thinking that he thought he was white. He ain't thought that. He thought he was Russian, right? Roots. If you go back and date the Roots, okay? You got the Brits from Britannica, the Roots, right? Different people, bro. We sitting here messing it all up, yo. The Russia was not involved in the slave trade, bro.
Facts.
No, they ain't do all that. So we got a wild view. And I like that though, Grant. We need to have that type of epiphany. And you know what? I think we're here. Like we at that point where the phenomenon becomes authority, because we breaking away from authority. The Dr. Benz, the John, all that, we got to put them in their proper place. So they're no longer authority for these conversations, man. They can't be. They will drag you down and keep you right there in the 50s and the 60s. And I think Miss Tiffany said it best. Black Widow said it best. She said, "Man, you act like you fighting out trying to get out of the shackles of slavery. Y'all back there fighting like Martin Luther King and the Black Panther Party. Y'all not even acknowledging y'all victories. You're not even on the shoulders of your ancestors that went through all that. They made games that you can vote." I be hearing people say, "Oh, what I ain't gonna vote? I don't know the white, we enslaved the white man."
Crazy.
Bro, like, you don't know, we put some work in around, act like it, mature.
People died for you.
Yeah, you don't see at the time. So the advanced parts of Europe pretty much think that the Russians are morons, correct? They're like, these people are clearly out of their minds. Do not go to this dark part of this continent because they're barbarians. And imagine had the Russians taken what many African American position is. It's white European science. Therefore, I'm going to spend all of my brain power to deny it and ignore what are the good features of it and not create my own fundamental way of thinking. Mind you, the Russians completely propel themselves into a completely different stratosphere, where the rest of Europe, at the moment we come into the 1980s and 1970s and 1960s, the Russians are sending people into space. The rest of Europe isn't, for a variety of reasons. But in essence, when you think about where science has happened within Russia, given where they came from, imagine had they spent all their time trying to dismantle white European science, because again, they were not included into European science at the time. Imagine if they spent every inch of their brain power trying to dismantle that, instead of thinking of how do we become a world power and how do we become a scientific power. And once Russia figured this out, and that became the Soviet Union, they completely leaped over the rest of Europe scientifically and technologically. And I think it's important to see that distinction, that when you use a broad notion that whiteness this amorphous notion of whiteness, it makes you forget that there's all of these different segmentations within that umbrella.
I want to tie it back into the philosophers, and for you to understand what thinking does. Kant, he created his philosophy, which was used by the rest of Europe, right? Grounding science, although his position was affirming and reestablishing the authority of the church in Russia, which led to their stagnation, which led to, once that revolution took place, you see they eventually outpaced Europe because of their philosophical framework, which was produced by Kant, and the elites held them back. So I'm putting things in its right perspective. Kant's contribution to Western science was the foundation for allowing the establishment to persist, creating a dark age for Russians. Y'all need to synthesize all this information. Y'all too fragmented. It's a holistic understanding to put yourself in a time frame. And like I said, when we today can speak the way we speak based on the backs of those radical Frenchmen who risked life and limb during the time of the guillotine, right? If you don't understand the amount of power that you gain by adopting scientific literacy, it is the tool that tells the establishment you have no control over my being, over my existence. It is the ultimate tool of liberation. So why is there a pushback against it in our community?
It's just, people don't read enough or listen to audiobooks enough. They don't diversify their reading. That's when I kind of came into my own when I started diversifying. And for the life of me, people can't figure out, why would you read them damn Greeks? Because that's where it was at. When I broke away from the tradition of just study Egypt, I was stuck in a world that had their own worldview, which I never got, because I got the African American conscious community view of it, which ain't Egypt at all. It ain't Kemet. It doesn't even exist. What I learned doesn't even exist. Once I found that out, I was like, damn. Okay, let me backpedal a little bit. Let me slow down. I got out of Egypt. I went 200,000 years, right? Went back into, understood that, went to Sahara, kind of really grasped ancient things, got a grasp on evolution and what that meant to the conversation, then came back and skipped back over Egypt again, right? And went straight to Greece. And that's when I knew. I said, oh shit, they questioning the gods. That's what I was looking for. And then I knew, right? Then I knew, yeah, Egypt wasn't questioning the damn gods. They was thoroughly entrenched in the gods. That was their worldview. I got it. They looking at a way to see the natural world not through the eyes of the God, not through the eyes of the state-sponsored religion. There you go. And then I knew, right? Then I talked about Thales. Who they like talking about Thales for? Thales, a Malay. You know what I'm saying? He opened up that first school of Ionia. And then in Ionia, they didn't have a treatise against cutting open bodies. So now they can start to investigate the body. See, I learned them little things. You know what I'm saying? But interesting though. So I just have to say, man, y'all gotta embrace learning. Don't be scared. Attack your fears. You gotta attack it. Don't let them tell you only read about Egypt, only read about Africa. You can come back to that, right? You gotta get a grasp on how the world progressed forward or just progressed in different modes of thinking, because that's really what the conversation was about. It was about different regimes, epistemic regimes of thinking. That's what it was about. That was the conversation I felt like. It's a great one. Don't miss that. You want to add something to it, Grant?
No, I think it's part of, I think it's part, again, when you're saying it's shifting the way we think about it, shifting the way we sort of take in information and not just getting stuck on a particular lens. I always go back to this idea in the early 80s. So I'll be 50 this year. So I lived in the center of LA, what people tend to refer to as South Central LA. Mm-hmm. So quite quite an interesting time, to say the least.
Yeah, real.
But we were, the community is going through an epidemic of crack, and obviously an epidemic of AIDS epidemic. But one of the things I think is important that everyone forgets is African Americans have every right to sort of be skeptical of the government and when it comes to medicine and science, et cetera, because of some of the earlier things that happens to African Americans under the guise of science, under the guise of government. And so the skepticism is correct. So this is the right way to be skeptic. So you should be skeptical of when some agency tells you there's something to do. But then comes along this very important thing where we're trying to get young African American men in the gay community to start thinking about use of, protection. But there's a skepticism that happens that they begin to not listen because we have this fear and we have this underlying problem. It explodes, correct? You end up having a further problem. Mm-hmm. And so today, now people are even more skeptical because they say that the government did this to our own people, which we can go down a rabbit hole. Well, my point being is the moment you get stuck on this concept that all government's bad and all science is bad and to be skeptical, when someone gives you good information, you ultimately become your own victim of your own skepticism because you haven't figured out a way to sort of pick out the parts of information that allows for you to make a more correct, a decision that's going to make your life better because you're just throwing everything out because you're holding the skepticism. There's nothing wrong with having a healthy skepticism. It's when you don't have a framing that allows for you to sort of pick out the parts that are going to be useful to you while discarding the things that are going to obviously be damaging to you, as well as continue to push back on some of the problems that we know are there. And I think you still see that happen in modern era when it comes to other sort of health crises. And I think this isn't a good place to be as a community because we'll continue to see more of these problems show up. And the more we have skepticism that isn't backed by any reality, I think we're going to find more and more people who are pushing away from scientific remedies and going to their homies for scientific clarity, which is a problem.
Yeah, if I can add, I think I always say skepticism is when you apply a proper methodology to investigate claims. Cynicism is when you dismiss claims under the guise of being skeptical, right? Yes, there's a fine line and there's a nuance to it. And skepticism, as we all agree, I don't trust nothing nobody says. Right? I don't even trust my own thoughts. So I put it through a specific metric, a specific rubric, right? To analyze and falsify the position. Why I have one objective, to know and understand as many true things as possible, true justified belief. So you employ a specific system that is rooted in skepticism. We are called a community of skeptics, the Pseudo Killers. We are skeptic by nature, but it is a system a system of application in which you process information. What we're seeing is cynicism based on fear and the fear justified, but it's not turned into skepticism, it's turned into cynicism, and that is the risk, right? Great point you're making, Grant, and it's something we in the lexicon to be discussed: cynicism versus skepticism in the next set of set thoughts. So it's a great point. That distinction there is what we need to make, right? We are skeptics. We don't agree to anything. You see, we had a PhD on today to peer review our talking points and analyze our perspective. Out there, not rehearsed, clear for everyone to see. That is epistemic humility, and that is putting your work out to be falsified, right? That is a scientific process. Even though we're skeptical, there is a system in place. So cynicism, don't confuse your cynicism with skepticism.
Put that comment up there by Afro Head Science, because Grant mentioned something. I want put it up there. Ladosha, how you doing, sis? Long supporter. See that comment right there? Nope, the other one. Nope. You say, come through, Grant. That's exactly how I lost my son. Nope.
I don't know why it keeps.
I want to speak to that for a minute. Pick up to Ladocia. Afro hair, yo. She's a powerful businesswoman in
She
the
got to come
community.
back on the show. She need to come back on the show and tell her story.
Yeah, she got to come back on there. But there's a video I have of me and her sitting down, me, her, and Chill. And she tells the story about her son, how her son was dying, I believe, dying from AIDS. But you know, in these days, you don't even die from AIDS no more, right? If you get the proper medicine. But he decided to go with the Dr. Sebi bullshit. And they drained his accounts, right? And you know when when you first get that stuff, you feel good, right? Feel good, you eating right, make you feel a certain way, but you know it's still on the way downhill. It's not helping. And so after they took all his money, you know, couldn't get nothing else, you know what I'm saying, and kind of left him alone, yeah. And that sister lost her damn son based off of damn shawls, you know, and I never forgot that, yo. That's why I don't get off y'all necks. Because I never forgot that lady could have her son here today, right? If he had only, you know what I'm saying, got some real medical care instead of some bullshit. Right? And that's serious to me. That's why I don't play with some person start talking that herb talk. I'm immediately cutting them off and beating them half to death with the because it's nonsense, man. And so the question is this: I saw Netta almost lost his damn life.
Mm-hmm.
I get him on here tell you, Dr. Sebi Products, man. He actually had what did son Netta got? He got lupus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Sebi taught some craziness, gave something, drained all the minerals out of him, whatever it was, almost died. Right? Had to get IVs and all that. How many of us, African Americans and white communities, right? Because they got a real problem. You think we got a problem? Theirs is escalated. It's like tenfold with the herb nonsense, right? Trust me. Don't even trust me. How many people actually lose their life per year based off of the fake medical information, the fake herbs and spice, the fake diagnosis? I wonder. That's interesting, man. These people are responsible for the lives, man. That's why we're here to give you proper critique, or at least some scientific literacy where you can look and say, I don't know. How many people lost their lives in the pandemic that didn't have to die because we had people in these black-owned these organizations, the Pan, all kind of nonsense promoting anti-scientific evidence-based medicine.
Yeah.
How many people lost their life, bro? You know, we lied on our application to get that daggone vaccine. We had to force them.
I'm 65. Let me go ahead and get that early.
Well, I have a saying. I believe. I think blackologists hate black people, and I think it's because, in essence, they spend all their time investing in things that will shackle us, correct, and it kill us. And these are things that I think miss I think they're genuinely attempting to help, but I think what ends up showing up is I almost want to say it's a psyop. That at some point they're almost like a virus feeding under the guise of sort of helping, but they're only just leeches, sort of sucking the life form out of black people. And it's really disturbing because what I think they're missing in all of this is that one anecdotal piece of evidence doesn't help the whole, correct? And so while this one person gets this benefit, we'll use figure quotes here, there's tons of other people whose lives are being completely impacted in a completely different way, in which they're not going to talk about. African Americans lost a significant number of humans during the pandemic.
They did. We did.
And even if you run the math, I don't care where you stand on this, the math will say we were the lowest to take the vaccine, which means that we should have the highest, according to we should have had the lowest rate of mortality, correct? We should have the lowest number of people who then had subsequent problems that led to the ending of their lives. And yet we saw the largest grouping, correct? And we saw the highest dip in life expectancy over that period. The math doesn't work in our favor in that particular case. And I think the more scientific we become and think through our problems, I think the less will fall for these types of charlatans. because I don't think it helps us it doesn't help us in the long run. And one of the things I spend a lot of time on with like my own family and friends and et cetera is like diets. It's something I'm really passionate about. A lot of my African-American friends or family are always saying these sort of insane things. Most of them don't make sense.
Yeah.
But the moment I say, yes, you can eat whatever you want, you just have to eat less than what you give, you have to have less than what you're putting out. And they're like, well, really? No, it's they're trying to kill us. Like, no, they're not. No. What you're learning is this other person wants you to eat this $30 bag of weeds, whatever they came up with that's from Africa. That isn't going to help you. Like, it's not going to help your health. Yes. And again, I'm not even saying you can't do that. You can eat all of it. You can eat as wheat germ, you can eat germ wheat, you can eat all the mythical things you want. I am completely for it. But what I try to explain to them is if Africans had the answer and it was embedded and came along with our DNA, we would not have obesity rates, correct? We would just know it, correct? The Africans would the African knowingness of African stuff would just sort of flow out of our DNA and the magic would happen. But the reality is that isn't what is happening. And so, I mean, obviously I'm trying to be as thoughtful around not demeaning someone's belief sets, while also trying to explain to them, you can have all of these things without limiting your life expectancy over time. And I think it's a very hard road for a lot of us to deconstruct a lot of things that we learned.
Yeah, I turned off my camera just now because I got emotional when Ankh spoke about that lady,
Ladosha.
That's Ladosha.
Yeah.
That's who invited me to Gambia. Shout out to Ladosha.
Mention it now again. Even mention it now again, I get emotional, right? And then I remember why I engage in these platforms with the vigor and the intensity that I do. Anytime we talk about the pandemic, people close to you dying for being ignorant, watching these crackpots convince people of this nonsense and people being sold on the illusion and the outcome, right? And you fight so hard to get through to them. And it is, So I watched this man give a lecture and created the illusion that he was on a university stage. This man said, don't consume protein because proteins are made out of acid and amino acids will kill you. And I'm like, who is allowing this man to speak? Like, I'm not here just to be here. Like, there's a mission deep inside of me. And it triggered when we talked about the reality of people losing their lives. This nonsense.
And it's out of willful ignorance. And then, I think it was very eye-opening, especially going into New York with Professor Dave and the other doctor when they did the debate with the anti-vaxxers, and knowing that these people and their families are actually vaccinated. So my conspiracy theories start to go churning because it's like, well, why y'all feeding this to, underserved populations? You feel me? Why are you feeding garbage to us? Because in Florida, people were going to jail, and these people didn't look like me. They were going to jail because they were like skipping lines for the vaccine. But yeah, you got on the other side of the tracks, you got the Black community just throwing havoc, and the information they getting it from Jim Carrey and what was his ex-wife, the chick from MTV. It's like, are y'all serious right now? Or a nurse. I'm like, a nurse is not a virologist. Like, you can keep playing stupid, but yeah, Mildred was one of the first ones. So yeah, we're a scientific literate family over here. We made sure that everybody such and such got vaccines for free. So, we had a whole network to make sure that our family and friends, as much as we could, were safe. And any information, I tried to dispel it, like giving them information from the CDC or whatever. And it's funny because people still call it white man science, not knowing that Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett is a Black woman with a Black husband and a Black child. You feel me? So is very weird. And her research, I just read an article, her research sat on a shelf for like 6 years before they acknowledged or that it might work. So, that was a long time in the making. You feel me? To constantly think that white people are the only people that have anything to do with science in America is just small-minded. It's so many people that look like us that are behind the scenes that are doing excellent work. Just talked about the young lady who found an element on the periodic table. Like, y'all gotta stop. Vincent Glover just circumnavigated around the moon. Became one of the farthest people away from Earth. So, I mean, the reason why I do it, and I do my mentoring and tutoring, is so I can bring a little bit of scientific literacy to the children early, right? They know about NASA Space Place. We went through the Space Age African Astronomy page, show them all the pictures that Anthony took. You feel me? Like, he's not really an expert, but he did these and he knows a lot about the subject, right?
He's an amateur. It's an amateur, serious dude.
I mean, yeah, he's the top amateur.
I'm gonna put him at an amateur level. That's serious. You know what I'm saying? Especially in that, amateurs be finding the damn.
Yeah, amateurs above hobby.
Yeah,
amateurs above hobby, ladies and gentlemen. That's serious. When you're an amateur in this field, you are serious.
Share my screen. Go ahead, keep talking though, Juju. Share my screen. Keep talking.
I think a young lady went to space camp or something at NASA, and she located a planet. So it's like, you don't have to be an expert to do expert things, right? But you can contribute to science if you just put some initiative to it, right? But we have a lot of Black experts, African experts who are involved in science here on the continent of Africa in the diaspora. So, like, y'all got to give it up at this point. It's 2026. Go to Gambia with the BS y'all talking. They don't look at y'all crazy. Trust me. They want the malaria. They want the malaria shots and pills. They want every type of vaccine they can get because they understand what infant mortality is about. They understand, losing your life at 44 is that's the expectancy over there. They know what that's about. So yeah, now y'all just squabbling the privilege you do have. And I mean the privilege to have a healthcare system and science and things that work for us in the United States, in spite of the president. You feel me? We still got it good. So just remember that. They get old drugs over there. They get donated stuff that may or may not work. You get that? I need y'all to get that because the stuff y'all talking about is trash.
Got that. We got that. Got that. Finish?
Yeah, your screen sharing. You got it on.
I wanted to make sure Juju topped that off. That was a good one. To go ahead to Africa with that, they're gonna kick them out, drag them out, lock them up.
You gotta go.
You want trying to hear y'all nonsense.
I got 6 vaccines to be there to make sure I ain't coming out with nothing at one time. There's nothing wrong with me. So just stop it already. I'd be upset about it.
I know. So we got Dell Matthew Big Tree, American television and film producer who's the CEO of the anti-vaccination group Informed Consent Action Network. He produced films Vax, The Cover Up, Catastrophe, based on discredited opinions by Andrew Wakefield. Come on, man. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. See that? Okay, he serves as what? Communications director for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Y'all see that, right? All right. So that's who I was up against. What y'all looking at is actually the actual debate, right? Move forward just a little bit to show you, right? All right. That's him. The interview, Dell Big Tree, the Great Harlem Vaccine Debate. All right. Here go the flyer for it. All right. See Dr. Mayad. You see a saw. You see me in the background. They messed up my damn name, yo. We need to switch that. Messed up my name. So we actually had a scientist on our side, right? But this was, and here's the date. Make sure I get this right. It was December the 18th. 2019? No, 2018 going. It was turning because they call it COVID-19, right? So it was at the
Yeah,
end. Was at the end of the year, right?
2018. It says it right there on the video.
Okay.
2018.
Okay. All right. Now
December 21st, 2018.
I want you to know why them fools in there talking crazy. COVID was in New York already.
Yep.
They talk in that room we was in there. It was already in there. We ain't know nothing about it, and they was running their mouth. Right? Here it go. Room packed full of white people. Majority of the crowd is white people in there, yo. It's a nice crowd. And I went to Professor Dave's debate. They ain't even have that many people ain't even show up for that. And they did a masterful job.
It was majority white too in there.
Yeah, no, wow, I forgot you was there. You was wow.
I was wild. I was just shutting the kudos
Oh
out.
my God. We're gonna tell that story.
Shutting them kudos down.
So we sitting on the panel. The odds are stacked against us. The damn moderator is anti-vax. The one to put the program on is anti-vax. And they got all the money on their side. Right? And they running their mouth. And I mean they running their mouth.
Don't forget Baba Small.
Baba Smalls jumped out the middle of no damn where with the foolery. The foolery.
And this is when Unbiased Truth wasn't an FBA.
Yeah, he lost. Yeah, Unbiased Truth, he kind of lost his mind.
Oh.
Yeah, Unbiased Truth lost his mind, yo. Now, I forget the name of the sign. What's his name? Tricked him. Had a conversation before the debate, and I said, I bet you won't go up there and tell him that your kids is all vaccinated, yo. He was like, what? Yeah, I said, so why are you on the side of the anti-vaxxers? Because I'm thinking they should be safer. Crazy. And he went up there and he said that. That kind of kicked off the whole debate. I wonder what this was. Let me see.
Test a drug for safety, you have to do a small sample clinical trial and a large be tested. The problem is that vaccines are not drugs, and the actual rules that are in place by our federal government for safety testing vaccines are different. I'm a scientist. I too am here on the side of science, and I thank you for your time.
Guys.
Safe, we wouldn't have the Supreme Court and our own governments. My answer is vaccines are not safe enough. Vaccines are not safe. My answer is vaccines are not safe enough.
You know that's a wild statement. They're not safe enough. But for something not to be safe enough, then they got to be safe, then, don't they? Think about that. Safe enough? Yeah, we had to go through the whole, right? And I'm just saying, man, look, we was up against it in there, man. And the most rudest people I ever ran across in my life was these people right here, yo. I mean, they was heckling. I had to start going hard. Yo, I had to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had to start going hard, yo. Right? And I'm just telling y'all, man, the misinformation was flying up in that room, man. The Dell Big Tree, yeah, cheating. They started cheating. Start standing up. That's where he made that mistake right here about the 2 hour mark. Yeah, they start standing up. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna stand up. Yeah. Yeah, we all standing up now. That's when it shifted because they had us until that nigga start. My fault. Let me stop my language. Till he started, till they start standing up, yo. And then I stood up because we supposed to be sitting there having a real organized conversation, and they turned the tables, and this guy right here, right, he started standing up, he started doing this thing because he's an expert speaker, right? He's doing this thing in that line of people, man. But let me tell you something about this particular audience that's a little bit different than our audience. Do you know, after I did my presentation, that I'm gonna say about maybe a quarter of them, they actually came to my table and say, we never knew that. That's interesting. What are you reading? It was like, we just came here, we wasn't really sure, but that information helped. They wasn't adverse to it. That's the lesson I learned. I say, wow, our inability to accept information and change based off of how authentic it is and how well you comprehend it, man, ain't there. Because they was there. They might have started out anti-vax and heard some things, didn't have the real information. When they heard something that was solid, they wanted to at least check it out, yo. And I was like, man, I gotta respect that, man. Go ahead, Grant, you or Cedric.
It's extraordinary. I mean, what's even crazier, and I go back to my blackologists hate black people. They align themselves with white fools in this case, and so easily scoot over and go, I hear everything you're saying, sir. Yes, I agree with you in your great whiteness. And again, there's a Venn diagram of these kinds of individuals. They share one thing, and the one thing they share is that their ego does not allow for them not to be the center of everything, and that their solipsism is so grand that they think everything has to revolve around their ignorance. And these groups of individuals use this one thing, which is that they feel that they themselves are part of a supreme group, and they have to play mental gymnastics on the levels we haven't seen since Nadia Comaneci, of trying to wiggle through a concept as to why they're extraordinary and why everyone else isn't. And so the reason that you're just getting verbally bombed in all of these, in a lot of these calls and these meetings, is that in essence they want to overwhelm us while saying we're for whiteness, well, all the while they are shackled up next to whiteness in every way. Because they want to be close to supremacy. They need to be close to supremacy. And they don't care about any of the science, that it doesn't matter. All they care about is the fundamentals of them believing that they know something that others don't know, that they have locked into a secret. I mean, what makes it even more extraordinary, on the one hand, they know that white people created science in their worldview, but then they use white people to dismantle white people in this world, correct? And they don't see the irony in all of it. You don't like Kant? What about Kuhn? I mean, check this guy out. You guys are the white science. Or like, yeah, you're using a white dude to cancel the white dude. Which white dude do you not like in this? So what are we doing here?
Deny Charles Darwin, but go with the racist be he. The criminal element be he. That's your hero. But Charles Darwin is a villain.
Yeah, facts. I always call it proximity to whiteness.
Oh, it most certainly is.
For sure.
I call it wearing the white skin, correct? You have to peel their skin off and place it upon you.
Yeah,
white man science, the European, but the Africans had science.
I think the most prolific thing you said here tonight, I mean, it hit it on the nail for me, saying blackologists actually don't like black people. That's like hit it on the nail.
Yeah, that's it. They hate us.
That hit it on the nail, because it's true. Everything that, I mean, I'm a healthy blackologist. I'm a self-proclaimed blackologist, but I think it's more or less I want to put.
Pro-black is different than a blackologist.
I'm a blackologist.
We all are pro-black. We are pro-black. You are not a blackologist, Juju.
No,
you
I'm a blackologist.
You blackologist.
You gonna let me finish speaking? Thank you. I'm a blackologist sometimes, because I think I think propaganda is necessary. You feel me? Yeah. I think it's important to put Black thought, Black African thought, those are together to the forefront sometimes. I think we're owed a little bit of Black supremacy, but not in an unhealthy amount, and not in a racist manner, not like white.
Yeah, that's why you're pro-Black and not
Black. But I do believe in propaganda and leading the way and helping shape minds. And I know me and Ankh don't disagree on it, but I think it's important. We live in a Western white reality, right? And then, you know.
I think I might disagree on what? What you think? Disagree on what? What do you think I might disagree? You said I might disagree a little bit.
We've had this conversation before, though. That's why.
Oh, about the black.
We've had a conversation on this level. So that's why I say Blackology, you know. So I think that's why I say cultural blackology or healthy blackology. I'm gonna put it there because I can't be extreme, but
at any opportunity, I get to highlight.
You don't have to cut me off.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
Start teaching, boy.
I think it's when I do science with the kids, I'm gonna show people look like them. But I do have non-Black people in my group. You feel me? So I show a little bit of everybody. But I think it's good to show a little bit of everybody because we know that science is a human endeavor. So I want to incorporate all humans, but I also want the majority of my Black kids in their predicament, in their situation, to see themselves in that. Because every time we ask them what you want to do, tell me what they say they want to do, y'all.
Hip hop, basketball,
athlete or musician.
They want to be an athlete, and we really got to change that culture. You feel me? We have to change that culture. So I'm gonna stick.
The kids don't see themselves in it, and I think I agree with you completely.
They don't see themselves,
that's so funny. Me in this space is this sort of constant sort of tug of war of my reaffirming my Blackness because in essence I seem other. I'm other, and I'm not special, correct? I'm not saying that all I'm saying is you can see it and you can hear it because in essence this way of thinking is an oddity, and so they reinforce their worldview, and often I think people on our side of the ledger have often allowed them to do it. We'll just go, you know what, they're just kidding. They're just joking. But they're not. In essence, they've actually fortified this way of thinking, and they're the ones who are propagandizing the kids, correct? And this way of thinking.
I agree.
By the time we get to I say it's too late when you get to high school for a kid.
Oh yeah.
To say you're going to you're going to go to college. It's harder, or you're going to learn to read or anything, or become scientific. Those things have become very hard. You're already behind everyone else. I think the earlier we can capture kids' minds around the idea of thinking in a much more scientific way, I think we have a chance to change those answers on their own. Like we don't have to tell them, "You sure you want to be a basketball player?" Or you can just say they would actually fundamentally just say it. They would just know it.
Yeah, I think that's why I try to make science cool. I try to make it hip. Right, these conversations are not the standard type of conversation about philosophy and stuff like this. Still, we're having them in this atmosphere, and people don't even realize that they are having them. They're talking about Kant. They're talking about Newton. They don't realize the upload that was done. The virus has taken root. Why? Because science is cool. Philosophy is cool. Being smart is cool. It doesn't diminish my Blackness. It doesn't diminish my standard. It is cool. Being smart is cool. And I think we need to make an effort in promoting that by just changing the lexicon, by upgrading the level of discourse. I am all for that. And I agree with Juju. And at the same time, I agree with Ngozi, right? And that is a unique balance that you create. We preach science has no color. It is universal. And if you think we ain't doing it, look here. Look there. Look here. Look there.
That's
create that trifecta. Yeah.
That is the perfect dichotomy. I'm going to bombard them with images that look like them, so psychologically they can place themselves in it. However, I'm not going to help them place themselves in the bubble to say there's nobody else but me. No, there's lots of people, and we're going to share that with you. But I want you to be able to see yourself in it like a Chinese or Chinese American could, like East Indian could, because those people as children, sorry, that's Yoshi. Those people as children, they see themselves in these things, and they have no problem with it. It's like the same psychology why we see Black children or black girls in particular have this gap with math. They don't see themselves as that intelligent or in a math perspective, right? So, and I think it's fundamentally different now than it was, because my aunt, she was the math teacher. That was her thing, right? My mom, that was her thing in college. Then we look at people like Kathy Johnson. So it's like, even though with the oppression, how has this mindset changed so much, right? The mindset is more oppressive now, I think, than it was when our physical selves were oppressed. You get what I'm saying? So it's just weird. I know that's a whole nother conversation, but that is definitely what I'm on now. That's why I'm very dedicated to the work I'm doing. And with the nonprofit I'm doing it, and we're collaborating on some stuff. I think he made an awesome book. Wish I can show it to you. That was on financial literacy, but it's a workbook from 7th to 12th grade, right? So now we're trying to produce stuff like that. And he has another book that's for younger children. So we're just trying to bring all those tools that other groups have early on to our children, because we know they don't have it. And we know their parents don't know how to get it. See, that's the thing, access, right? So yeah, when I say propaganda, yes, I'm going to bombard them with images that look like them in everything. Sports is going to be the last thing I do, unless it's swimming. Something,
extraordinary.
We haven't quite saturated yet. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm a swimmer. I was a competitive swimmer. So
I think it's what happens early. My sister, she actually, so Vincent Glover used to come to my mother's house. So I had already moved out of the house. So he lived near us.
Nice.
And they were in NSBE together.
Nice.
And so
that's the national
engineering science.
Black engineers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I think, and she now does college level tutoring for pre-college to get kids into pre-university. But one of the things I think is always critical is that the culture of learning is vastly different. And between sort of mainly her East Indian students, her Asian and our Asian students, and living in a predominantly African American community, her students are not predominantly African American, and they have access to this education early, correct? This tutoring. So this is talking about her students are pretty much in elementary school into junior high school. The vast majority of them are East Asian, even though they still are the minority of the racial groups in the area. I do think we have to do a better job of sort of introducing these young African Americans to science and math early, that it becomes just sort of second nature, like picking up a fork or a spoon or a cup, that it just doesn't, it never leaves their purview. It never leaves their identity. In essence, they see themselves within what is happening. And so they're not sort of separating themselves like, this is a thing I have to do versus something that they just enjoy. They go and they do it because it shows up later, correct? These kids are already doing calculus before they go into high school, correct? Yeah, which is insane because most people don't even do calculus ever. So, which is just a different way of thinking about the world. And I think getting more kids early into the process of understanding how math interacts with their lives beyond just their beyond just today, correct? I think is important.
Agreed. So it's our last day Tuesday, and I've had this experiment. I have a worksheet for the students. We're going to do an experiment on, convex lenses, where you put like your name on the paper with a Sharpie and you put it in one glass of water and you take the other glass of water and you put it next to it and it flips it. We're going to do that, right? Very simple. You can do it at home, but so they'll take those worksheets home. They'll tell their parents about it. And it's like, I'm going to start doing like we did on Galaxy and Beyond. First of all, we're starting a Discord for Mr. and Miss Mentoring. So I can start putting links in there, putting parent information in there, things like that. At least spend an hour a day with your child, going over either reading. I know the young boy Zion, you have to do timed reading. So they have to read so many words in like 90 seconds or a 60-second interval, right? He was nowhere close. Now he's zipping through it. And that's in this year only, because I make them read at least, I try to do it an hour. I know I'm pushing it, but I also started bringing snacks. You see, I know food is an initiative, right? So even if they read 15 minutes, one dude, I hardly know the words in this book. It's a book on how they made the movie Story. Phenomenal book. I was like, it's way out of your level. This is totally like, high school, college book, but we're going to read it anyway. If I don't know the word, I'm going to look it up. You're going to learn a new word. He's in third grade? But I also want them to be ahead. Now Zion is ahead in math and reading. He was struggling when we first started last year. So those are things I'll revel in, right? Gonna do everything I can that these children have the best chance they can to either get into the military and rank as an officer, not just get in there, like go to officer school first. You feel me? Get that degree, make them pay for it. Like there's a way you do things, you feel me? Well, you have the benefit to go to college where you can pass an SAT high enough to get a scholarship, right? That's where we need to start placing our children, not just, oh, you passed, but your grade average was a C minus. You feel me? Yeah, we can't settle with our children anymore. So yeah, I'm speaking to the audience. I know y'all think these conversations is boring, but I mean, I wish everybody here would take 2 hours out their day to try to mentor a kid around you. Do something that's positive and pro-social, because that's what it really takes, especially when there's boys and they're in a home with no men. It's the most important, So I'm gonna end it there. That's why I say I'm a blackologist, I use it as propaganda to get their minds seeing themselves in things, not the black supremacist blackologist that just hates white people. No.
That is a philanthropy. That is a philanthropy I talked about just now. And I was just quiet because I don't want to get all emotional. Because when you talk like that, the passion comes through. And when you talk about Zion and his improvements, it's like, yes, this is why we do what we do. Like this is why, right there. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. I put myself out there. I'm seeing my ability to really translate this information and this online community. Sign me up. Yeah, whichever aspect I'm into the chemistry, I can tell stories. I'm working here to be able to do it there. Honestly, like this is a training ground to do exactly what you do. Like this trip here, especially the last part, has been emotional. Since Aunt brought up that child, it has triggered that reason, that core reason why we do what we do. Like we don't get paid. It's out of pure passion. It is out of pure passion. It is around the pandemic that I decided I can't sit down anymore. I started to fight locally, and I found the Pseudo Killers. It was serendipity. I'm fighting over here in my community on Facebook and in the streets. I turn on YouTube and I rediscover Ankh because he disappeared. It's the Pseudo Killers. They throw the link out, and 4 or 5 years later, here I am. Like, yeah, it's science in itself is serendipity, and to be around a group of people like this, it's found a home.
Yeah, maybe I can get together with some of you and do a kids segment that's totally vanilla or chocolate, but none of the bad stuff. Yeah, that's my hopes, that we can start working on something that's geared, like break it down where let's talk about, like I talk about trustworthiness and honesty and things like that. Let's talk about natural philosophy. But just very, very simple. So
I think you touched on something important. I think young Black men is important, which is, I think the earlier we can talk to them about how to emote, how to talk, how to take in this information. I mean, they're already working through a lot of them, some very traumatic early experiences. And this is just showing up in how we interact. Yeah, later on. And
I'm an ACEs advocate, so
yeah, it's important that we do we engage in that way early enough, with a lot of them, because I think I will say this: you see what happens later on in life. They become the sort of chat warriors of who just spew hate and nonsense.
Oh, talk about it. Talk about it.
So they eventually become vermin in adult life, and they spend all of their time trolling. We need less trolls, and part of this is a global mission, correct? This is all of us sort of working through how, in the aggregate, can we raise all of our positions. and so you need less vermin, to say the least.
Yeah, I got a little kid named Manny. He think he grown, but he's into astrophysics. And I didn't really realize that. And somebody was saying something, and he answered it. I was like, oh. So, I was like, oh, now I gotta start doing some stuff because he enjoys that type of stuff. You feel me? Might raise some money, get him a telescope, and have Anthony give him a couple of coaching classes. You feel me?
Because he can write JPL, by the way. He can write JPL, and they will send. You can send a letter to JPL. I did it as a kid. Write a letter to JPL.
Have him the sponsor for some kids for sure. Yeah, I didn't think of it like that, but
they do great.
Yeah. Maybe get 1 or 2 for the class, and we start doing segments. So I think I'm going to do my curriculum. This is summertime, so we have a different program for summer. When school starts back, I'm going to have a curriculum. I already started it, and it's geared to STEM and lifestyle or life choices. We need that in our community. But that's enough of the Babble talk. I just, trying to inspire other people to get involved. It takes only 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day to affect lives in a positive way, okay? That's all it takes.
Yeah.
An hour is good,
You're not babbling, Juju. You're humanizing all of our efforts. That philanthropy aspect of what we do, again, it is not brought to the forefront because that is just work from the heart. This is all in the front, but that philanthropy is ultimately the crown jewel of everything we do, the babies, right? Having this information out there, creating a new lexicon by the parents is going to stimulate the kids. The kids are being stimulated from the ground up and the top down. That's the hope for the future. I mean, these are the principles I've implemented in my kids. I taught my children skepticism real early, right? With one trick. Go in the corner, and Dad got some candy there. And they go in, but there's nothing there. No. You need to believe me. Close your eyes and trust me. There's candy there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there candy there? So as soon as you understand, right, without evidence, you do not trust what someone is saying. That's a principle they learn at 3 years old, and I don't do anything else. They figure the rest out. They figure the rest out. We go through the curriculum. As they grow, I engage with them in terms of their cognition. I question their point of view. Sometimes I go through a day speaking to my kids literally. So I answer whatever they say in a literal context. It's forcing them to just evaluate the way you speak, what you're saying. These are just mental exercises. And it's been successful. My 2 sons are former debate champions and stuff. All my kids go through college. So at this point, it's time to give back. It's time to invest myself in creating the community I want to see. So instead of complaining about the discourse, about the level of discourse, I decided to be an active participant in changing the level of discourse. This is the type of conversations we should be having in the community. I keep dropping the link, and you see the energy and the vibration that we create, the ability to create contention is almost zero at this point. The epistemic rupture is there.
And people are watching. I mean, people we don't even know watching, different experts and whatnot. So I think that's pretty dope. So, I mean, what they say, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't doing something right. And just going to go with that.
It is what it is.
But there's a type of conviction when you know it's right. Nobody has to tell you it is. You're following the right path, right? And then you can see other people, experts, and people that are going to be experts. You can see them doing the work you've been talking about. I think that's you need people on all levels, right? We don't have to be experts to communicate what the experts are doing. My schooling is done. I took criminology, and I did that because I'm a juvenile justice mentor. And that's what I do, whether I make money for it or whether I'm volunteering for it. And it was funny because the kid was like, I know you get paid a lot to be with us. It's like, I do this because I care about y'all. I do this for my own time. And it was like, oh, it's like maybe I shouldn't have told them that. I should have kept it hush, but But I'm like, well, I'm not just here because I get paid for you. I'm here because I want to be here for you. You know? So as scientific communicators, some of us are better than others, but we're definitely working on that. And that's what we attempt to do. That's our place. That's our place in the history books. And I think most of us are okay with that.
For 4 years, about 4 years ago, when we did one of those foundation shows where all the pseudo killers were there, and we set out on our mission officially, we are going to promote scientific literacy. None of us has changed a beat. We have gotten significantly better in articulating our positions and illustrating our point of views. But every aspect of what we stood on, right, is being represented right here today. 4 years ago, I started talking about methodological naturalism. Sosa has been calling me Mr. Methodological Naturalism for the last 4 years.
Until I started to understand.
And here we are. And it is a testament to hard work and dedication. Ngozi, E1B1, E1B1A, E1B1B, EM78. The fact that I can say those words now and understand them is a fact that we stayed there. It forced you to go into the material, to study, to be at the level that you comprehend. That is called infecting the virus. That is a virus. That is virus. We're downloading virus in the program, and you're seeing the effect of it, and there's no way back. That old God, that old authoritarian system where you sat on a stage and you just made stuff up because you had the gift for gab, you have the elegance of speaking to the people's emotional appeal. You could slow it down and point your finger like that and say, you know what I mean, and you pull it back and you flip it around and bop, boop, bop, bop.
People out, just pimping the people out.
Those days are over. Call me intellectual high horse. Say that Grant sounds like a European. Say that Unc is using these big words that he can't explain. Say that whatever you say, we're coming full circle. You're using the same lexicon. You have to engage with the same parameters. You have to adopt the same vocabulary. You have to adopt the same cognitive ability to stay relevant. You either die with the old God or you come into the modern and new way where the evidence speaks. Revisionism is dead. Trying to make the whole world black is dead. Misappropriating other cultures is dead. False historic narratives are dead. They are unsubstantiated, unsupported, arbitrary claims based on your emotional interaction with reality. Those days are over. They're done. Deal with it. God killer, you got a bed left us here? Glad you got it.
He go. Go ahead.
I mean, like when you said earlier, when you're talking about your mission is, it's awesome. I mean, I have to say, I take notes, I go back and listen, and there's things that I obviously don't remember, and things I probably didn't learn, and it takes a level of humility that I think all of us should engage in, to say, I don't pretend to know that I know everything, and I think that's the thing that I try to hold on to, because I know that there is an army of people who are way smarter than me, and I acknowledge that. And I would rather try to learn from them than to say that I know more than them. And it has worked out for me to some extent up until this moment. And so I'm gonna keep working off that software, because I think it will help me in the longer run than it is to sort of close my mind off to it. So I think you guys are doing. It's awesome. I mean, when I found it,
we guys, not you.
We guys, man. We guys.
Before you were still part of the mix. So
yes. And it's true. When I do some of these presentations, you see the euphoria. It's a learning curve for myself. I'm right here showing you I'm not afraid to learn. I did biochemical engineering. bioanalytical chemistry. I am a tech, right? I have a high proficiency with immunology. Yet the proficiency with which Ngozi was talking about haplogroups, I'm like, what part of genetics is this? And I was not afraid to do a series, a TED Talk series where I'm learning right along with you guys. What's SMPs? What's this? And it's an endeavor to show you the humility of going through that process. It's nothing. There's no exceptionalism here. There's only a dedication, and the dedication is to have as much right and correct information as out there. It is a humility to see that brother is on it. I need to do. I need to go and I need to learn that. That humility. And that's what we demonstrate up here every single time we're on this platform. We are not experts. We show you the hard work that we do. We tell you the hours we spend in the Discord figuring this stuff out. Right? So we're showing that it is a human endeavor. I hope over this last week you have earned the right to understand the liberty that comes with scientific literacy. The one thing we we take pride at, right? We talk about skepticism. We want to give it to the man. The number one way to give it to the man is take his authority away from him, and you do that by means of scientific literacy. You take the power away from the man. You become the man. Black power. You want black power? Take that scientific literacy. That's where you get it. You take the power away from the man completely. He can't sell you no drama, no nonsense. You know better. You're trained to think better.
Well, we are at our 2-hour mark. So
yes. Yeah, so we gonna wind up.
Definitely wind down. I want you to play that old school. Where are you from?
Yeah.
Sir? I know you speak French. So I think you were
we're gonna take them out. We're gonna take them out with a little old school flavor, and then of course we're gonna cap off with the Pseudo Killers official song. Grant, you want to say a last word? I'm gonna leave Juju take us out today because we are how you say we're graced with the presence of our royalty.
Wait a minute. I want you to tell them where you're from, and then I'm gonna find my catchphrase. I haven't even practiced it yet.
Where are you from?
Yeah, somebody was asking where you from. Tell them where you from so they can stop.
I'm from St. Martin. I'm from St. Martin. Northeast Caribbean. Northeast Caribbean. Dutch colonial island, French colonial island in the most northeast portion of the Caribbean. Small little island, 16 square miles. My island size of New York City. My dad is from Curacao, another island in the Caribbean. That's the southern Caribbean, close to the border of Venezuela. I was born actually in Curacao, but I grew up in St. Martin. That is a dialect that is spoken between Cape Verdeans, Curacao, Aruba, Bonaire, and Angola. That's a dialect created by means of the transatlantic slave trade, contact with the Portuguese.
Yeah. So he's not Jamaican.
No, I'm not. I'm not Jamaican. Jamaican over there. So
yeah,
I'm not yardy. I'm not yardy. You see me? I'm not yardy. You see me?
Yeah. When they say I don't understand what he's saying because you're not trying to actively listen. You know.
Yeah. It is not a matter of my accent or articulation. Maybe it's a vocabulary. I can attest to that. Sometimes I use words that would be outside of the regular colloquial parameters within which you communicate. I understand that. However, my diction, my grammar, even my accent, I'm proud of, and I'm well articulated. So if you don't understand me, that's on you, fortunately.
Well, I had a good catchphrase. I can't find it. Because I was supposed to practice my catchphrase. So
yeah, you gotta practice your catchphrase. Like Scientific literacy is the vaccine against the scammers,
Yeah,
hoodwinkers, hustlers, and the flim-flammers in the
vote
country.
on it. It's so funny. I had y'all vote on it, and I can't even find it.
Yeah, it was a good one too.
It was a good one. Like, it's nowhere to be found. It's crazy. It was really good, y'all. But we got to end the show, and next show I have a cute little catchphrase for y'all.
Right.
Free-minded me. You drop me some more music.
That one, Ginger?
What's your ideology? Seems to be the question round here lately. Every discussion rooted in blackology, fueled by the lack of integrity. Case in point, the so-called diverge. Misleading the people. High level. Smash, come of us, king's monologue. It must be a conspiracy. Nostalgia got them stuck in the past. Always reliving history. Ask Dr. Ben and Clark. Say their names, here's our spark. All one big fantasy. Smoke and mirrors, only confusion, no clarity. The nigga promote crazy.
Y'all gotta listen to the lyrics to the song. It's hilarious. Got energy. That's another story.
For him, it's about his legacy. Highest little movement in the prematurely. Reggie was denied his opportunity. He saw at the feet so surely. It was meant to be his destiny to the king of blackology. That's your ideology.
Hilarious.
Seems to be the question round here lately.
Let me do my catchphrase.
Confirmation bias, poor research quality, cherry-picking data. That's a tragedy. Call yourself a scholar, then it's a travesty. You know it's right. Keep it trying to make science black. Who's confuses science with technology? This is
funny.
everything. A flame for blackology. A black city brand. Let me not digress. Don't wanna get lost in that mess. Even the skin now. Reggie tried to contest that affected him emotionally. Reggie came loaded with more pseudo-foolery. Yet another battle he lost horribly. Obviously, Reggie, you're not ready. Ideology got you looking stupid, silly. Squints in his eyes. Where he lies, if the look is ugly, you will never be honest. No emotions, no ideology. That's the difference between you and me. Oh, and don't try that. You gotta degree. The name dropping, don't work on me.
The name
I
drop.
ain't never been a victim of blackology. What's your ideology? Seems to be a question round here lately.
Wait a minute. y'all gotta go back and listen to every word of this song. When I tell you, it is hilarious.
Don't mess with my pen. Don't mess with my pen. I'm dangerous.
Oh my God, I caught it the last show you did. I was like, oh my God. I couldn't believe, like, it's such a good song, like it carries, but when you listen to it, like you killing every. I was like, holy crap, this is hilarious, bro.
Do not mess with my pen. I'm dangerous. I'll cut you several different ways.
I love that song. You gotta sing me that song. I just want to listen to it and learn the words so I can say it wrong. It's the funniest ever. Never. I mean, I got tears. But I'm gonna end the show with this. Can I end the show with it?
Yeah, of course.
I gotta practice though. It says scientific literacy is the weapon. Pseudoscience is the target. We educate, we elevate, we eliminate confusion. Good night.
All right, folks, we out. Good night. Oh, man. Hilarious.
Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie. A well-organized lie. Defeats a disorganized every time.
A pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer, I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunslinger, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunslinger, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunslinger, hey. Pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer, I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunslinger, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunslinger, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunslinger. Who do you believe in? People bringing misinformation when that information ain't disinformation, that's disinformation. Gotta know the difference in information, get information with the pseudo killer army hunting pseudo. Cause you gotta train your mind to fight against the pseudo judo. People with the scholarship salute, we give them kudos. But the people with that look of shit, we look and see straight through those like telescope. If you ain't speaking fast, we gotta tell them folks and let them know the truth of. You bringing malinformation to blast, then you the Ku Klux. Like say, don't talk me to death, bro, what the proof of? Good juju chillin', why you wanna go way bad juju of? Shalom boy got the tank in the cut. I'm in Sosa world plotting on the kick though with Kent. Come in Tiffany gave me the pseudo names on the list and said went and got the low. Anthony got him in the scope, Gullah and Gozy. Make sure DNA ain't a problem for them folks. Cause a pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer, I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunslinger, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunslinger, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunslinger, hey. Pseudo gon' die, they saw a pseudo killer, I'm a pseudo killer,